Nestled away just off the A1 in North Yorkshire, RAF Leeming is one of the busiest stations in the Royal Air Force. Today, I'm getting a look behind the wire at the range of activities and operations the station is responsible for. In fact, Leeming's considered one of the most diverse locations in defence in terms of the types of tasks going on here.
RAF Leeming is the only large Royal Air Force base in the north of England, which in itself is important because whenever there's a kind of major exercise that's happening in support of broader defence priorities, RAF Leeming is used regularly. And it's really good because we get all sorts of different organisations from across defence, not just the Royal Air Force, and internationally here at Leeming.
One of the more unique organisations based at Leeming is 11 Squadron, Qatari and Emiri Air Force, a joint flight training squadron that sees the next generation of Qatari and British fighter pilots put through their paces.
The students follow a syllabus, and that will take them all the way through from converting to the Hawk 167, which you've seen outside, onto converting from flying the aeroplane to then training to use an aeroplane as a weapon system. So that ends into air combat training, air-to-surface training. So really, there is no standard day. They could be doing anything from that broad range of syllabus sorties.
It's a squadron that sits formally within the Qatari Air Force, receiving funding from the state in the Middle East. Right now, approximately 40% of the pilots learning to fly here are British.
So the squadron is a joint squadron, and on the face of it, you can see that in the courses that we have here. So at the moment, generally speaking, there's 6 on a course. 4 of those will be from the Qatar and Emiri Air Force, and 2 of them will be UK. So joint courses on a joint squadron. The syllabus they fly is the same, and they are scored exactly the same, and that's how we manage it from day to day. There is no difference in the training they receive.
Passing decision height.
Takeoff and landings for the Hawks are actually just a small chunk of the runway activities taking place at Leeming.
On glide path, on centre line.
In fact, per year, there are more than 22,000 aircraft movements in and out of the base. That's 60 every single day, and more than some civilian airports. It requires a dedicated team of air traffic controllers working out of the tower and the station's approach room. It's very much the nerve centre of RAF Leeming. Taking on the responsibility of air traffic can at times be stressful, as are many other jobs in the base. That's where this nature-based welfare facility comes to the fore. It consists of a polytunnel for base personnel and their families to grow vegetables. There's also beehives for producing honey, and even a chicken farm, which, you guessed it, produces eggs. And here is the end result. Eggs. Some of the most exclusive eggs in the country, perhaps. RAF Leeming eggs.
At RAF Leeming, we're incredibly lucky to be able to have such a facility that allows people time to escape from their working day and able to connect with nature and really then focus in on the work that they need to do.
Is that the aim of this place?
Yeah, that's exactly what we want people to feel when they're here, is just really relaxed and able to really connect.
Produce grown here is consumed on base and donated to local food banks in the surrounding area. The work of the Royal Air Force Mountain Rescue Service, the unit of which based at Leeming is one of the busiest in the country, is often linked with the rescue of civilians who've gotten into difficulties in the hills and mountain ranges of the UK. But as I'm learning here today, that isn't actually what the service was intended for when it was established in the Second World War.
The RAF Mountain Rescue Service is here primarily for post-aircraft crash management. So we're held at 1 hour's notice to move, and we'll respond to any military aircraft crash in the UK.
So, I mean, I believe it is still a case that you do go and help people if they're stuck and you're able to, but actually that's not the bread and butter core reason for the team's existence.
No, it is purely for the post-crash management side of it, but the traditional mountain rescue jobs is a great method of training for us. So we do still get involved in them, but it's normally assisting a civilian mountain rescue team.
The team here is staffed by both permanent personnel and those employed elsewhere in the station with different jobs who volunteer to respond to emergencies when they occur.
The majority of our team is made up of volunteers that work at or around Leeming, so the caveat is you have to be within 1 hour's travelling time of Leeming. So the team's made up of 7 full-time members who kind of do the day-to-day management, and the team leader and the deputy team leader. But the real backbone of the team is the people who volunteer and give their time up from their primary roles on station and respond to any incidents.
Leeming, like the rest of the RAF, has its eyes on future threats. At the forefront of one of the more pressing problems defence planners are contending with, the RAF Regiment personnel of No. 2 Counter Unmanned Aerial Systems Wing, the men and women charged with tackling threats posed by drones.
The RAF Regiment has 5 wings, and we are unique amongst those 5 in that we are the only one that has a dedicated workforce to providing fixed site counter-drone provision for the Royal Air Force and wider defence. We have several hundred people committed to that task, and those men and women are dedicated to the provision of counter-UAS through a system of systems approach that we have to mitigate the threats that we see out, both overseas and indeed in the homeland.
Starting off, we have radar, so this is able to detect drones up to as far as 50 kilometres. Moving on, so we have a radio frequency detector, so that can detect the link between the drone and the controller and give us an angle where to look. And then to finish off, we have the defeat aspect, which is the radio frequency jammer.
The work of the squadron is not just about enemy drone threats overseas. Roughly half of their deployment work occurs much closer to home. They'll be on duty at the Paris Games, and earlier this year provided counter-UAS security at the D-Day commemorations taking place in Portsmouth.
Drones really have changed the character of contemporary warfare, and Ukraine is an excellent example of that. And we do definitely see an increasing threat from drones in terms of the size, the shape, the technology that backs them up is significant. And that's why the Royal Air Force, which is a technologically leading service, has lent into the provision of countering drones.
We are really focused on our people. And for me, my priority are the people here at Royal Air Force Leeming. Future technologies, innovation, how can we develop the Royal Air Force of today towards what we need for the future is the real focus, and Leeming is a key part of that.
A busy station, yes, but a busy station that really delivers. Whether that's supporting crucial air combat operations by training the next generation of fighter pilots, rescuing stranded climbers on the side of mountains, or shooting drones out of the sky, the personnel of RAF Leeming are certain when they say they really are pivotal to UK defence. James Wharton, Forces News, RAF Leeming. Thanks for watching. For more from Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.